Hi Gemini, welcome to your 2026 Astro-Tarot reading with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these are for your sun, moon, and ascendant sign. Check out all three because astrology tends to favor your ascendant sign, whereas tarot tends to favor your sun sign. Now, with that said, whenever I'm talking about astrology, I'm always using the tropical Western Astrology house, whole sign house system for those of you that would like to know. So what we're going to be doing here, we're going to delve into your life sector overview. We're going to explore how this year is unfolding for you in terms of your actions, your career, your love life. We're going to be looking at your spirituality. We're going to be delving into your finances. And then we're going to look at the all-important warnings to see what the heads up is for this year. Then we're going to delve into your lunation section. So we're going to look at your new moon, your full moon, how the eclipses are going to be affecting you over the course of this year. And then we get into your 12-month tarot breakdown where we're going to go right the way through the year and see what's unfolding for you. Now, if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose, and this resonates, hit the subscribe button. If you would like to book a personal session with me, you can do so on the link in the description box below. And don't forget this year to check out the 2026 Compass Intuitive Strategy for the New Era. 2026 is a universal 1 year in numerology, and this is setting into motion a whole chain of events that are likely to unfold over the next 9 or 10 years of our lives. If you want to find out how to build real momentum and move into 2026 and also move through 2026 like a damn boss, you know what to do. There's a link in the description box below. Make sure you check it out. It's my flagship service. I've never done this one before, and it would be absolutely to have you be a part of it. Gemini, stay tuned while we get into what 2026 has in store for you. Hi Gemini, welcome to your 2026 life sector overview for your reading for the year ahead for 2026. Can you believe it? So here we go. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So Gemini, what we're going to be looking at here is the macrocosm. We're going to be taking a look at all of these life sectors, the life sector overview, hence the name, right? We're going to be looking at all of these different life sectors for you and how they're likely to unfold. So we're using the major arcana only here to give you those broad strokes, ideas, and energies of how this year is unfolding. Now, with that said, I do want to remind you that here what we really are looking at is just the overview. All right, we're not getting into like major details here just yet. So with that said, let's get into it. For your actions and options, you have the Magician card, right? So this is literally your card because the Magician represents Mercury. So in a sense, this year, your actions, the way that you're acting, the way that you're moving through life is really in a sense of a greater sense of authenticity. Now, that's not to say that you're not authentic already, but remember, over the course of this year, you're going to have Uranus move back into your sign for good for the next 7 years. This is a big deal because effectively what this is setting up for you is a connection to your own sense of authenticity. And more importantly, it's going to see you break ties with everything that you knew before. The Magician card is about power. It's about understanding your own personal power, understanding your true ability, and more importantly, what it is that you are truly here to do in the world. This is a card of communication. It's also a card of your consciousness, which I think this year, in terms of your actions, what you're doing is really presenting yourself as you truly understand yourself to be and who you are becoming in this moment in time. The other thing with the Magician card, it can see you using your power and or your words to shape or hone your own destiny. So in some way, shape or form, I would not be surprised to see a lot of Gemini people moving towards being on stage, giving some sort of speech this year. Maybe you're sharing your ideas or your wisdom in some way, shape or form. I wouldn't be surprised as well. I don't know why, but this is coming in. I feel like some of you might even go on like a game show on TV or something this year. So if you get selected for that, absolutely go for it. Now, in terms of the actions, your actions is also about your options. What is available to you? Well, what is available to you this year is a chance to work with or align yourself with powerful people, with power players, or as I like to call them, big fish clients, or potentially even what we call movers and shakers. This is about working with or moving towards working with or connecting with people who really have the ability to shift or change your life in some way, shape or form. I love this because the Magician card is also a card of manifesting that basically says what you have available to you at this moment in time, just as you are, is more than enough for what you want to create over the course of this year. This is really about you coming into an understanding of trusting yourself and, more importantly, taking action on the ideas. You're not just talking about it, you're not just planning or gathering information like Gemini likes to do. You are acting on this stuff and you're putting it and setting it into motion. And the options that are available to you is to do this by working with power players that can really help you advance your ideas and your goals. For your career this year, you have the Devil card. Okay, so not the easiest of energies. And what this means is when it comes to your work, especially because you've got the Magician card here next to it, you do need to be very careful when it comes to the career sector about working with or alongside yes men. You're going to have to find a way to really differentiate between who is really about it and who just talks a good game. And so this year, you know, you are the great communicator of the zodiac, Gemini. It's what you do. You eat, sleep and breathe this stuff. So you are going to be able to see who is just talking a good game and who really, quite frankly, is full of shit. So you're going to have to use that inbuilt BS detector to really hone in on, you know, working with the people that are actually going to be aligned to what you're trying to build, who can really help you and who's just talking a good game. For another thing as well, like this year, there could be a workaholic tendency. And so I do want to say to you, like, I love that you're getting more serious about what you're bringing to the world. I love that you're getting more serious about your own gifts, talents and skills. I'm here for all of that. I just don't want to see you go too far and sort of really isolate yourself by throwing yourself into work and almost like forgetting to look after yourself in the process. Now, for your for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, you are a very studious sign. Your sign actually represents, or, you know, certainly in terms of third house connection, it rules school, learning on a daily basis, right? Where you kind of go to a place and you do your learning, etc. Which is great. But, you know, there's a danger with always being in the learning seat, always being a student and never really becoming the master. Well, the Magician is the master. And so this year, Gemini, there is a chance for you to really level up. But this whole idea of, well, I'm just going to be the jack of all trades, it's not going to cut it this year. This is a universal 1 year. So everybody in some way, shape or form is going to be forced to do life differently. That's the whole point of a 1 energy. You can't do what you've always done. So this year, like the Devil card is going to show you, like, are you addicted to just being a student? Is it easier than really knuckling down and learning something or going in and honing that craft? You're being asked to really take it to the next level this year, right? This surface, and this is not to say that you're all surface learners, but this sort of skimming the top and grabbing a bit of everything is, and, you know, turning it into something new, it won't cut it this year. What's required of you is a specialism, all right? Now, when it comes to those of you that are employed by somebody else, pay attention to the groups that you're tied to the office politics, because it could get a little bit sort of gnarly this year. Don't get involved in any of it. Just keep an eye on it so that if it comes towards you, it's kind of like, you know, when you walk past a pile of dog poo in the street, you don't step right in it, right? You kind of go around it. This is one of those years when it comes to the office water cooler talk, when it comes to, the gossip and all the rest of it. Do not engage in it. And, as a Gemini, it's going to be very tempting. You don't have time for it this year. Okay, straight up, you just don't have time for it. When it comes to those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, again, I just want you to be really mindful of this workaholic tendency. I'm not saying don't knuckle down, in fact, quite the opposite. But what I am saying is, as hard as you work is as hard as you need to step away from it as well. Another way that you could see this as well is your usual approach to how you do business. You might really just want to continue, with things the way that they are. And honestly, like the image that I have in my mind at the moment is a pond drying up. You're going to have to find a new way to replenish your sources, okay? Now, when it comes to those of you that are retired and no longer working, whatever your habitual patterns are, whatever your consistent stories, leanings, etc. It's kind of like, when you constantly do something with one arm, like if you're cleaning and you constantly use one arm, you have to swap after a while, right? Because that shoulder gets tired. There's something about this in like how you're spending your days or using your resources, potentially your money, that's really asking you to kind of look at doing it a different way. All right, like you're kind of stuck in a bit of a rut here, and you're being asked to break out of it. For your love and relations, you have the Strength card. So if you are partnered, married, or in a long-term commitment, in your heart of hearts, how do you feel about this relationship? How do you feel about your significant other? How do you feel about the connection and what it does or does not do for you? This is all going to come up this year, and it's not to cause problems or issues. It's actually to help you deepen the bond. But it looks to me like you need more fun, more spontaneity, more enjoyment. And if you need to bring those things in, you're being asked, or the tarot is effectively saying, you have to have the courage to ask for what you want, right? So I'm going to give you an example. You go off to your girlfriends and you say like, oh, our bedroom, our sex life is getting really boring. It's this, that, and the other, but you're not doing anything to help it, right? You're not doing anything to spice it up. So, what are you going to do about it? Or let's say, I don't know, you're in a partnership and you say like, oh, or he or she or they or whoever, whatever is, they're not really able to pull their weight at the moment because they're not earning as much as I am. Well, what are you going to do about that? Or vice versa, right? Like you can't, it's basically saying like whatever the situation is that's a problem, you have to have the courage to speak up about it here. Speaking and speaking up is not a problem to Gemini. I think the problem here is, though, it's like what you're going to ask for. You almost feel embarrassed about asking for this thing, and you have to overcome that. For your those of you that are single and looking, this year you get to build a greater picture of what it is that you want from a partner. And honestly, whether you're a man or a woman, however you present, however you identify, really doesn't matter. You have to be the person to put yourself out there this year. You've got to have the strength, the guts, and the courage to sign up to that dating website, to maybe get on that app, to go out to the bar, to take the invite when it's given, to go for that coffee with that person when they ask. It's like this year you have to get out of your own way when it comes to the dating situation, Gemini. All right? It's really on you. For your spirituality, you have the Wheel of Fortune. It's so funny because I think it was Aries that got these same two cards, completely different deck, in these positions. Now, the Wheel of Fortune, as your spirituality card, it effectively says that this year you will probably take some kind of trip or journey or potentially even a long distance trip for reasons or matters of spiritual nature. Whether this is that you go to visit Stonehenge, or maybe you go to what's that place called? My brain has gone completely blank. Lourdes in France, right? Maybe you decide to go to I don't know, Mecca, or do you know what I mean? Like there's some kind of potentially big spiritual journey and or trip or some kind of pilgrimage even that you take this year. Look at this combination as well. This is about up-leveling your spiritual power, up-leveling your spiritual game, taking it to a whole new level. This really is power energy, right? This is a universal 1 year, so you had that there in the Magician. The Wheel of Fortune is the number 10, slice the 0 off, and you've got the 1 there again. This is taking your spiritual or religious practices to a whole new level. It also, because it's the Wheel of Fortune, it suggests that your life improves by leaning on or utilizing your spiritual powers in some way. For a lot of you as well, I would not be surprised if a new gift of some sort unlocks or opens up. And as and when it does, you might be a bit like, okay, this is happening now, right? And I think if anyone's mental faculties and powers are coming online early, I would say it's probably going to be Gemini, because you've got Uranus in your sign, or it's going to be Aquarius. It'll be one of those two. Like there won't be, it will be one or the other. I don't think it will be anybody before them. For your finances and your money, you have the Lovers card, right? So for your money, finances, and resources, this looks really, really nice. There are, like, some of the choices and the decisions that you're making this year, you will be in a position to make big financial commitments. And for some of you, you might be making what would be considered a large purchase, whether this is a home, whether this is a piece of land. For some of you, this could be that. What I think might be surprising to you, though, is if you're buying a home or a piece of land, I wouldn't be surprised if this was abroad. I wouldn't be surprised if it was in another country from the country that you're in. When it comes to your home and environment, yeah, I think for those of you that are single, this year you could move in with someone. If you're partnered but you haven't moved in yet, this could be the year for it. I think when it comes to your finances, you're sharing the burden a little bit easier or more equally this year, but this card falls underneath the Devil card, which does say if you're going to make big career moves, make sure that you are backed up with the finances first. All right. And then when it comes to your physical health and vitality, your respiratory system, pay attention to that this year. Get your cardio up, right? Obviously, I'm not a doctor, I can't give you medical advice. Make sure you look after that. For your warnings this year, you have the Star card. Okay, first things first. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. I mean, you guys are Gemini, so I probably shouldn't need to say this, but I'm going to say it. Whether you want it or not, AI and the tech boom is here. It's coming. Either get on board with this, or you're going to find yourself struggling 3 to 5 to 10 years from now. Now, lots of people say, like, oh, well, you know, we'll just buy some land and start a commune. Even still, you will have to, there'll be some way that you end up having to interact with the systems and stuff that's coming in. I'm not saying I agree with them, right? This whole digital ID business can suck my balls, quite frankly. You know, like, I just think it's excessive and I think it's too much. However, I don't want people to get into this sort of technophobic kind of energy, because I don't want to see them create problems for themselves. Now, all of that aside, another way that the Star card could show up as a warning is when you have moments of challenge or difficulty, don't try to rationalize them away. Don't ignore the help or the support that shows up to get you through the good times, through the bad times or the challenging times. And also, when it comes to trust this year, my dear Geminis, you have to both give it and you will also need to earn it. And I will say to you, trust is going to be a very big buzzword for you this year. So when it comes to people that you do or don't trust, vet them, right? And really ask yourself why. Check in with yourself, and more importantly, check in with the vibe. If you have an inkling that you don't trust somebody, then trust that, right? Or have a conversation with them. Remember what I was saying earlier about conversation? You'll be able to get to it very, very quickly this year. So if there's someone that you don't trust, open up a dialogue with them to find out why. All right. Finally, the Star card is a card of friendship. So I will say, watch out for some of your friendships this year, especially where the love life is concerned. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in a long-term commitment, problems or issues that arise within the relationship may very well come from or through friends. So be mindful of trying to, mitigate that. And I would also say, If you're going to make a friend into a partner, just make sure that they are trustworthy. All right. Now, with that said, if you don't know, the 2026 compass is up and out there for your purchasing pleasure. There is a link in the description box below. I keep saying Universal One, got to do everything differently. That's why this year I'm doing it totally differently. I wanted to show up so that I could be of service to more people this year. This was one of the ways that I chose to do it. I have 30 slots and only 30 slots for the 2026 compass. And the reason for that is the amount of time, effort, energy, and work that's going into it. So what is it, right? Well, I'm going to give you a compass to help you navigate what is going to be one of the monumental years. In 10 years time, you're going to look back and we're going to all say, damn, 2026 set a lot of shit into motion. It might not be the biggest year in terms of fireworks and seeing everything change overnight, but we are going to remember this year to come. Trust me when I tell you this. It's a universal year one. Now, the compass is a 12-month tarot reading. You get a video. You'll also get a link to it, so it's stored on an online platform, so you always have access to it. You're also going to get a PDF calendar that's printable from yours truly, but it has written insights in it about your numbers, your chart that only you have, right? And they are all written by me. And when I say this, I mean I don't outsource my astrology writing. I don't outsource my numerology writing. So what you're getting for 2026 in your personal calendar printable PDF book is written by me for you. On top of that, while you're signing up, you pick your time and date throughout December. I have a whole bunch of sessions literally just for this. This whole of December is just dedicated to this. A 3-hour one-to-one session with me where we're going to go through your reading, any questions that you've got. We're going to build you a strategy so you can sidestep your challenges, lean into your blessings, and anything that you want to ask about your reading, that is the time. And I've got a few other things as well that we're going to do in that session, so that you are ready. When you finish, by the time you've finished your 3-hour one-to-one session with me, you're going to have a strategy. You are going to have a plan. You are going to have a direction, and I will put that compass in your hand and you will know exactly where you're going. All right. If you've got a goal, something that you want to reach, trust me, the compass is for you. As I say, there's only 30 spaces because I know that's the amount of people I can serve by the end of the year and truly give my best to. There's only one of me, right? Now, that being said, it's payable in 2 installments. So if you see the price and you think, oh, okay, yeah, you'll pay in 2 installments. By the time we get to December, you'll already be paid up. By the time we get to January, you will have your compass, you will have your strategy, you'll have your video, you'll have your PDF. You will be ready for the year that comes. If you're thinking, I haven't got a big goal, Raf, I don't know, I'm just starting from scratch, or, just need to digest what the last 9-10 years have been, no problem. I've got what's called the Navigator. This is effectively an energetic cookie clearer where you can literally clear this year and all the ones that came before it and then move into the new year ready, all right? And then if you want to work with me in a different way, you can do that then. So I've got you covered, all right? That being said, the 30 of you that sign up, you guys are going to be called the Pioneers. And for those of you that get the energy work video, that is, you will be a navigator. All right. This is going to be a very big year. So sign up. There's a link in the description box below for both of these things. Take care, and I'll see you for the next portion of your reading. Hi Gemini, welcome to your 2026 lunation section. So we're going to get straight into it. So I'm going to hit share and you should be able to see your moons, the Gemini moons for 2026. So we're going to start with your new moon. All right. So this year, your new moon is at 24 degrees in the 3rd decan of your sign, and it's on June the 15th. So you can see here the new moon at 24 degrees, but you can also probably see from this, if you know anything about reading a chart, it's actually unaspected. So there's a few things about this. The first one is I find this really interesting because there's more than a few lunations this year that are unaspected, which for me kind of feels like we're getting a pure version of that sign in some way. Now, this new moon this year being in the final degrees of your sign, it kind of means that it's really about mastering yourself and your own energy, right? So, since this is a fresh start or a new beginning for you in some way, shape, or form, you are encouraged to get really honest with yourself here, Gemini, about what you want for your lifescape, your mind, your body, your outlook, how you meet the world, what you share about yourself with and to the world, and to be very intentional about getting after it. Now, apart from a wide orb sextile to Chiron, which, by the way, is coming from your ruling planet. So you are Mercury, and Mercury is in the sign of Cancer at this time, and it is in a sextile to Mars, who is currently in your 12th house, right? So this kind of suggests that there is an element here where you're rethinking who you have been and taking action steps towards unfolding that level of value now. Now, this may have a lot to do with your self-expression, potentially also about your friendships, your connections, your maybe group dynamics as well, possibly even brings up questions of who you are associated with and more importantly why. Now you add to that then that this new moon is really in a very wide orb. I say a wide orb, it's a 5-degree orb, to a sextile with Chiron, who is in your 11th house of friendships. So there's a message in here somewhere where I kind of feel like um which I'll talk about in just a second, actually, because there's something else here that I should have highlighted to you. You are and have been a lone wolf for quite some time, especially with that Uranus energy sort of dipping in and out of your 12th house. Now, that's not always a bad thing, but you are built to connect. And since Luna doesn't necessarily like to be alone, she's lucky to have her counterpart, the sun, to connect to. And even in a sextile, which is a harmonious aspect, which is an opportunity to Chiron, is still better than nothing. Mercury being in the sign of Cancer at this time is really interesting because it means that you're looking to communicate your feelings, or you have a feeling that you need to speak up about your worth in some way. Maybe your, current experience is having you say, actually, I'm not being valued here, and I really need to talk about that. And in order to really get this across to people, I have to cement what this looks like for me in the long run in some way, shape, or form. You'll have to forgive me. I am a little under it at the moment. Now, your ruler at this time is in the sign of Cancer. Not really a great place for Mercury because it's a water sign, right? But Cancer is preferable because it brings excellent memory and retention of information. So, out of all of the water signs, I prefer Mercury in Cancer. I do. Maybe I'm biased, but it is what it is. In the second house, this is really about how you see and value yourself and what you offer to the world by reminding people and also yourself, like how steady you actually can be, even if people are quick to forget. And it's because you yourself are such a quick-witted, sort of fast-moving energy that people often forget that actually you do have a lot of dependability, right? Even if you are a somewhat flighty sign, as some people like to put it. Now, in terms of your full moon this year, you have the Gemini full moon at 2 degrees of your sign on November the 24th. So this one is a different kettle of fish, right? It's a different affair. Your full moon here has a different energy to it. It's conjunct Uranus, it's sextile to Neptune and Saturn. I mean, by a very wide orb to Saturn, but definitely to Neptune, right? So it's conjunct Uranus. You can see that here. It's in this sextile to Neptune. On top of that, obviously, you always have the opposition to the sun. So your needs versus your outer reality and what it demands from you is coming up in some way, shape, or form. It's also setting up a part of a little bit of a wonky but still present T square. All right, and so that's something that we need to consider as well. This is bringing an electric feel to this moon, right? There is a fact that Uranus is retrograde at the time, but is also on new ground. We haven't seen Uranus at 3 degrees of your sign yet, which means new experiences for all of us, but especially for you. Watch your nervous system at this time, right? A full moon is a time of a lot more sensitivity. Feelings are way much more to the surface, and obviously because the moon rules the body in general, right? Your sign rules the nervous system, and it also rules the communicational systems of the body. So keep that in mind, right? Things like motor skills and stuff. Like if you find yourself getting a little bit anxious, or more importantly a little bit clumsy, that's a message from your body to kind of slow down, right? To take a moment and ask yourself, okay, am I really getting enough rest, nurturing, all the things? Since the moon is your literal mind, there could also be incredible ideas that come up right now, especially because Uranus is in close proximity. Since Uranus rules your ninth house, right, it's also bringing a sense of your higher vision into the mix, and maybe even you're getting some really powerful downloads, right? Uranus as the modern ruler Aquarius and this ninth house here. So you could be getting some really potent energies coming through. And look at this. We have a really nice trine from the moon to Pluto. And we also have this trine from Uranus to Pluto. So I would wager that this full moon potentially brings you some really powerful downloads, some really incredible information. Maybe it really helps you solidify your belief system in some way. Yes, I'm saying that even with Uranus here. It's like something gets revealed to you, you start to implement it, and then all of a sudden you're like, right, this is the new ground that I'm covering, and this is the new place that I'm going. And because yours is such a quick-witted, fast-moving sign, and a sign, let's be honest, right, of true intelligence, right? Social, personal, interactive, communicative intelligence. If you're into channeling and connecting with the universe or the higher mind or intelligences, this full moon could be absolutely incredible for that. Just be sure to record whatever it is that's coming through, because you won't remember any of it. I'm telling you here and now, with Uranus energy, you will always say to yourself, like, this was so profound. I could never forget this. I've done it myself countless times, right? It comes in, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is life changing. I don't write it down, and then I forget completely what it was. It's Uranus is instant, right? It's fast. It's in 1 minute, just like thought, and then it's out the next. But yeah, I have to say, I like your full moon this year. I think it's making some really nice aspects. That trine to Pluto is going to be deep. This T square, however, right, with Mars playing the anchor and Mars being the way out in the sign of Leo at 29 degrees, the message here is, when it comes to communication conversation, are you able to claim your brilliance without are you able to claim your brilliance without isolating or alienating yourself from the connections that you're going to need in order to build what you're trying to create? All right. So your eclipses this year, on the 17th of April, we have a new moon solar eclipse. The node is still in Pisces. It's quite far away, so it's only like a partial eclipse, but we're counting it as one anyway. This is on April the 17th at 28 degrees of your ninth house. So, what is this going to bring you? This is a ninth house activation for you, and it's playing really nicely with your own sign. It's trine to your ascendant, which is bringing, if this is for your ascendant or your sun or even your moon, it's trine to this, and it's bringing a nice positive energy into your experience. And it's also helping you really understand your own true north, so to speak. The new moon solar eclipse is, it's in a square to Uranus in your 12th house, which does mean there could be a surprise element to this eclipse that you really don't expect. Since the 12th house is the past, it also represents your self-sabotaging tendencies, or as I like to say, where the call is coming from inside the house. This could also highlight to you in a really powerful way where it is that you kind of get in your own way, and it might come through a challenge to your beliefs, where something or someone triggers or pushes that area for you, and you're like, hang on a sec, and maybe it's your reaction to something at this time that really surprises you. And then when you start to peel back the layers, you're like, wow, actually this experience happened to me, and it really shaped how I understand or perceive things or people. Something that you think you know versus what the facts are could really show you here where you've been probably quite off base with something. And then you sort of go about shifting those beliefs. You could also connect to a foreign place in some regard over the next 6 months, or maybe even, a person from a foreign place. Remember, the ninth house is visas, international connections, all of that kind of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you around this time are looking at what the possibilities are to live abroad in some way, whether that's for study, because it's the ninth house, right? Some of you could be deciding that you're going back to school. Some of you could be creating or setting down the legal sort of aspect to a big move of some sort. Now, the ruler of this eclipse is Saturn. And Saturn is in the sign of Aries, but look, Saturn is conjunct Neptune. When Saturn and Neptune come together in their conjunction, this effectively erodes whatever is in that space that it's touching. Since it's in the sign of Aries, and Aries occupies your 11th house of friendships, social circles, social movement, social justice. There might be something that you maybe once upon a time was like a big goal of yours that you were really going after hammer and tongs, that felt so important for you, and yet now Saturn and Neptune come together in this space. You might suddenly think, actually, that's not the direction that I want to go in anymore. And, with this eclipse being ruled by that Saturn, Saturn is the structure, Neptune is the dream or the beliefs. And this is all happening in your ninth house. There's definitely something about what you believe about your future, about your goals. Remember, for you, Saturn rules both the ninth house and the eighth house. So there could be a very spiritual element to this as well, where you look at things and kind of say, actually, no, this doesn't feel like something that I believe anymore, or potentially something doesn't hold up when you lean on it, right? The rule of this eclipse, as I say, is in conjunction with Neptune. It could see you start to potentially, on the other side of it, maybe you start to crystallize your ideas of what the future looks like. But I feel like, and especially because Mars is in that space as well, right, with the eclipse, even though it's not close to the eclipse. Well, depending on what orb you're using, right? It means that the plans that you put into action will require, some kind of like, how are we doing this? Now, what's interesting as well is Mars and Saturn are in what we call a mutual reception. So they're understanding each other's languages. While they are both being hard on you, friends and benefactors are there to help, but they're potentially highlighting things to you that you've either missed or that are just not doing what it says on the tin, along with a chance, really, as well, in some way, to create potentially a passive income for yourself. The second eclipse of the first eclipse season of the year is a Virgo full moon lunar eclipse at 12 degrees, 4 degrees away from the south node. This is a true eclipse. It's in a sextile to a retrograde Jupiter in his exaltation in the sign of Cancer in your second house, and it is opposing a retrograde Mercury, right? So Mercury is the ruler of this eclipse and is also your ruler. It's in your career sector and it's retrograde, right? And as the ruler of the fourth house, this could be that you might feel like your emotions are truly, very much on display at this moment in time. That's a big possibility. There could be a lot of things coming up with home, family, property, real estate, living situation at this time. It's also very possible that something around a parent and or, a mother or father figure is having something come up that feels like a backward step or a relapse of some sort. So that's one way that this could play out, because remember, the fourth house, 10th house axis, this is both the foundations, your home and living situation, and your deep emotions, but it's also your ancestry. And your 10th house is your career, your public persona, how you're presented out to the world. Now, because you have these activations going on, That 10th house is usually father, fourth house is usually mother. They are also interchangeable. It just depends, really. I've seen astrologers do both with both, right? And I've seen them come up as both, interestingly enough. So I don't personally feel like it's a hard science. I mean, most of the time, the fourth house usually represents mother in the readings that I've done. It usually shows up that way. So there's something to think about here. Now, the sextile to Jupiter, this could be potentially some kind of boost to the resources or financial opportunity that shows up for you, but it really comes through you having to give or to do almost like more in some way. Do you know what I mean? It's like you might sort of really start to understand like, okay, I'm gonna have to show up a lot more here. And since the moon in your chart rules the second house where Jupiter is, there's also potential here that some property matter could also yield results when it comes to the finances. Now, Jupiter and Mercury are in a wide orbed trine, so this works in your favor as well. And it's quite possible that you could see a really nice boost to the resources here. I like this for you. Now, as it's a full moon, emotions are going to run high as always. And as it's a true eclipse and it's tight to the node, your fourth house of home, foundation, and living situation, either a family member or a living situation, may be a really powerful consideration at this time. And the saving grace here is that Jupiter is in the mix and it's sending positive energies to all of this, even though it is retrograde. Now, as I say, that energy of Jupiter in the second, pay attention to the opportunities that come back into your world at this time, because at this point there could be some kind of financial boost, if you like. Now, so when we come into the second eclipse season of the year, you've got the new moon solar eclipse on the 12th of August. This is actually at 20 degrees, but I haven't got it here. So if you move this forward, because you can see the moon's at 59 minutes. So if you push it forward, it's actually 20 degrees. Where they're truly conjunct. The sun moves into 20 degrees. I haven't got it here. Anyway, this is a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of the sun, right? So all of the planets in this space, Mercury, Jupiter, the moon, and the sun, they're all living and breathing through the guise of the sun. And the sun is happy here. The sun rules this sign. And it's at 19 degrees, right? So the south node at this point is in the same sign of Leo. So that's doing its thing, as we would say. And this is a third house eclipse for you. Almost the heart of the lion, if you like, right? The eclipse is at 19 degrees. It's trying to a retrograde Saturn. And at the same time, Leo is being blessed and expanded by Jupiter. And the south node is on the other side of this. So it's kind of like there is maybe a little bit of energy at this time where it kind of feels like you're growing and expanding, but not quite at the rate that you would like. It's like you're having to get rid of something and put something in at the same time. All of this in that third house space for you. There's expansion of your mind and your skills. There's communication, right? Because you are Mercury in conversation and interaction. All the things that you really excel at. And Mercury, your ruler in this same sign, is really bringing a nice flavor to this. You're already sharp as a tack, Gemini, right? But now it's like you're shining and glowing with radiance and charisma. I would not be surprised if you come into new opportunities for work at this time, maybe newfound skills or unexplored areas, a rare thing for Geminis. As a new moon on the south node, there is a release here as well, right? And because a new moon is a fresh start, but the south node is an ending or a release. This could be a new moon where it's like you're starting something new, but you're starting something new without something that you once had, right? So let's say I'll give you just a clear example to show you what I mean. Let's say you start a new job, but your car gives out. And you're like, oh crap, right? Because the third house is cars as well. So I do need to make you aware of that, right? So you start a new job, it's absolutely amazing. The commute is potentially a little bit further, Jupiter in the third, right? It's expanding the commute. But you're like super psyched for this job. You know it's going to be amazing. They loved you. You love the company. And you're like, yeah, this is the way for me to go. And then all of a sudden, your car gives out and you're like, shit, I've got to start this new job. So I can't not start the job, but equally, I'm doing it without my car. So it's like you're starting something brand new, but something is being taken away or released at the same time. Since the third house is your siblings, your neighbors, and your local environment where you buy your milk, the websites that you visit every day, the magazines that you read, something about these could be shifting now, right? And having a ninth house activation already, it does make me wonder if this is where your plans around these things really start to solidify. Especially remember, Leo is a fixed sign. So plans that have been made now will start to solidify, but there are changes in order for you, to move forward with it, you've got to overcome. Um, Okay, and then the second eclipse of the second eclipse season of the year is the last Pisces full moon lunar eclipse on the 28th of August at 4 degrees. Right up here at the top of your chart in your career. I mean, if ever there were going to be a time where your feelings will be very much on display, this will likely be the time. But there's definitely some kind of aspect here where your finances are improving as a result of your moves. You've got this node in now is in the sign of Aquarius. So we've got this Pisces eclipse with an Aquarian node. And there is an energy here where something about you or your values that you're presenting to the world at this time really gains some kind of traction. So it's in your 10th house of your career, your social status, and your personal authority, as well as authority figures in your life. This one is still pretty tight to the node, but it's what we call dissociated. And the node being in Aquarius brings a flavor of that ninth house, demanding a look at your supportive or not beliefs and or that hold you back, right? Asking you to get serious about your present self, the worldview that you have, the perspective on things, and also how you pursue your goals. Now, since this is also square to Uranus and it's in your sign at this point, right? So Uranus is back in your sign. It's there to stay now for the next well, I think it's like 7, 8 years. And Uranus in this new territory, but square to the eclipse, there's a surprising element to all of this. So, whatever is unfolding, remember it is a full moon, but it is a North Node eclipse. So, this is an ending that has a beginning attached to it, is very likely to be you. You are going to be the surprise element in all of this. There is support from that retrograde Pluto, which I absolutely love in the ninth house. There is support from the where are you? So from the retrograde Neptune, right? So even though there is that surprising element that is you, right? Because Uranus is a part of what we call a T square, there's something that you have to communicate from the depths of who you are. And I feel like this is, which means it's like you're going to have to try a completely different approach, Uranus in the first, to making your career or your home life come together. And since your ruler, Mercury, is in the fourth house, in his exaltation in the sign of Virgo, very close to the sun, it's a new emotional approach, a new practical approach. And it's like new familial interaction or the building of a new family, the building of a new urban family as well that needs to happen. And it's like maybe a parent or a family member is standing in the way of what you're trying to achieve, whether by conscious decision or just because of what's happening with them in their lives, health, etc. Remember, Pisces Virgo is also the health axis. The eclipses finally leave your fourth, 10th house axis now, right? And when it's there, That's the challenge because they're what we call angular houses. Home and family ties are pulling in one direction, the career and social status is pulling in the other. With the nodes now in the third and the ninth, you're being asked to really consider what you think and feel about these two things and then forge a new way in order to bring them together that doesn't sort of see you tearing yourself apart to do or to do things for or to all people, you know? Okay, so with that said, those are your lunations. I do want to mention that this year, as you can see, I'm doing things very differently. I have just 30 spaces for those of you that would like the 2026 compass. So I'm just going to tell you straight up what it is. You get a 12-month tarot reading from me, right? Each month we go through a breakdown. I look at your personal year as well. As if that wasn't enough, you're going to get a personal booklet, PDF printable booklet. You know, Rafi loves a PDF that has written insights in it from yours truly. I do not outsource to other astrologers or numerologists. Every detail that you will have written in there will come directly from me. There'll be plenty of blank space in there. Why? Because then in December, as part of your sign up, you get to pick your own slot, right? You'll pick your own slot for a 3 hour one-to-one session with me where we are going to plan your year meticulously and go through your entire booklet. So you will have your 12 months tarot reading video that you can watch to your heart's content. You will have your booklet, which you can go through as many times as you want, and you're going to add notes to it yourself when we have our 3 hour session. You're going to be booked up, paid up, ready with your strategy before we even go anywhere into 2026, right? 2026 is a universal 1 year. This is going to be a monumental year, and I wanted to make sure that I could really be of service to people who I could genuinely help move forward. So if you are one of the pioneers, that's what I'm calling the 30 that sign up for this compass, because universal 1 year, one is all about the pioneering spirit. If you are ready to take next year by storm, then this is the thing for you, right? There's a link in the description box below for that. If you're watching this and you're thinking, Raf, by the way, for those of you that want to sign up for the compass, there is a payment plan. Please don't worry, don't panic. I told you I thought of everything for this one. And I'm so excited about this because I literally planned the whole thing so detailed, so meticulously. Now, for those of you that aren't ready for that, for those of you that it's too big a commitment, for time, for whatever the case might be, the navigator is for you. There's a link in the description box for that as well, so make sure you check that out. This year there will be 3 camps that you fall into in the Radiant Nation, and they will be the sovereigns, the pioneers, and the navigators. So whichever one you choose to be, whichever way you feel like I can be of service and help you, the link is in the description box. Check it out. Stay tuned while we get into the next part of your reading. Hi, Gemini. Welcome to your 2026 tarot portion. So let's get straight into it. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So, for your first card out. So remember, your first card out, it kind of typifies the year that you're about to have, right? So what I will say to you is, it's an important card. It's not the only card, so don't stress out if it's not, the easiest one or whatever. But let's have a look for your January. You have the Magician card. So interestingly enough, this card is literally your card because, or one of your cards anyway, because the Magician card literally is Mercury. So in some way, shape, or form, this year is really about you. When isn't it, Gemini? Now that being said, remember Uranus is coming into your sign this year, so this is going to give you a massive boost of energy. You've already had a little bit of a taster of how this is going to show up, but January is a month where you're likely to be really focused on your personal power, what you're communicating to the world and how you're doing it. But also, this is likely to be where you're really starting to understand what your personal expertise is, what you can bring to the world, what you have to offer, what you can take in a brand new direction is all showing up for you in some regard. So I love that. What it also means is that there's a potential for you, not only this month but also this year, to really take a very bold step forward in some regard. Now, on the 26th of January, Neptune is going to move into the sign of back into the sign of Aries, which for you represents your 11th house. Friendships, group connections, group associations, social media. So Neptune coming into that space could, bring some really spiritual friends or people that feel like soul family. That could be really nice. If you want to know what all of the astrology sort of stuff speaks to for you, you know what to do. Book a session with me, and we can get into it now. That being said, on to clarify on this magician card as well, to give it some more context, so to speak, you have excuse me, the Daughter of Cups. So this is actually the Page of Cups in this deck. I love this because it means that in some regard, your creative vision has a real chance to come to life. What I love about this is that Neptune energy is artistic, creative. It's the dream machine. It's Hollywood, movie, film, TV, all of that kind of stuff. And the Page of Cups really is a very creative energy. The fact that you have this with the magician means that some personal creation of yours right out of the gate could really get some notice or gain some traction. If you write a blog, if you have a book, if you've got something, maybe you make YouTube channels, maybe you make YouTube videos or something along those lines. This could bode really well for your artistic or creative vision and what you're putting out into the world in some way, shape, or form. So, love this for you. Now, as we come into February, February is a packed month. There is a lot going on here. Mercury retrograde starts on February the 26th in the sign of Pisces. This for you is in your 10th house of your career, your social status, your public standing, how you meet the world, the legacy that you're leaving behind. So you could be rethinking the career at this time in a really powerful way. On top of that, as if that wasn't enough, on the 17th of the month, we have a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, which for you is in your 9th house of higher visions and dreams. Remember, there's a lunation section, so if you want to find out what the eclipses are doing for you, check that part out. As if that wasn't enough, we have Saturn coming back into the sign of Aries, into that 11th house again for you as well, on February the 14th, so Valentine's Day. And as if all of that wasn't enough, on February the 20th, we're going to have the official, totally direct Saturn and Neptune conjunction. If you want to find out what that means for you, there will be a separate video on it closer to the time. And also, you can book an astrology or an Astro-Tarot reading with me so we can get into what that means for you. Now, with that said, as if all of that wasn't enough, it's all concentrated in one sort of period of the year. So keep that in mind because you're going to feel that. Now, for this, you've got the Star card. New ideas for the future are coming in, hope and decisions that take you towards your future with such an emphasis and an activation of your 11th house. I'm not surprised that this star card is coming up here. This would not surprise me to find out that you are being featured in TV, film, radio, that there are opportunities around those things opening up for you. It could also be, because remember, the star card is also about trust and hope for the vision of the future, that these things could really be showing up for you. You've got this with the Judgment card. So what I want to say to you is, even with all of the retrograde energy and even with the eclipse and all of that kind of stuff, February is a very big month. There is going to be a big opportunity on the horizon for you. There's going to be a big opportunity that is available to you in the month of February. And I really want to say this to you because I feel like it's very, really important. How you meet this opportunity needs to be with your full and your whole authentic self. And it's not to say that you wouldn't or that you don't, but it really does need to be you, stripped back, stripped bare. No airs and graces, no quirky little, smartness about you, because Gemini's really clever and you're a natural chameleon. This opportunity is not asking you to be someone else or to be adaptable or to shapeshift. It's asking you to be yourself. And the more authenticity and clarity about who you actually are you bring to this opportunity, the more successful you will be with it. If you walk into this just trying to play a role or borrow from this or borrow from that as you usually do, I'm really sorry to say, Gemini, but you're probably likely to, this one might slip through your fingers. And I don't say this to be mean or to be rude or whatever. I say it because this for me, for Gemini people, feels like about fucking time, right? Like it's about time you guys had your big break or your moment to really grow, to really expand. Well, it's being given to you here. And if you don't, if you show up as someone else, it kind of reminds me like whether you love or loathe Harry Potter or not, this is a good example. But there's a moment in the final book where he goes back to like the place where it all started, to his home, and Hermione says to him, you know, "Oh, we should have used the polyjuice potion, we should have, you know, disguised ourselves or whatever," and he said, "No, this is the place that I was born. I'm not coming back here as somebody else," right? This, look, goosebumps, right? This feels like that with a retrograde in the 10th house. There's something going on here, and it's going to demand that you show up truly, authentically as who you are. Don't let this go to waste. All right. As we come into March, we've got the second eclipse season of the first, a second eclipse of the first eclipse season of the year. It's in the sign of Virgo, a fellow mercurial sign. This for you is happening in your fourth house. To take a moment to think about that one, sorry. Your fourth house of home, family, property, real estate, your living situation. So you've been having these eclipses in the fourth house, 10th house for quite a while at this point. This is the final one in the fourth house, certainly for the next 9-10 years, so you get a breather. But it's going out with a bang. It's nicely supported by Jupiter, but it's still an eclipse. And it's still an eclipse in the fourth house. Whatever unfolds for you in February, it looks like you plant seeds in fertile soil, because in March you have the Empress. This is beautiful because it means that you're stepping foot. Look at that. The Empress with the Four of Pentacles. Whatever you are building, whatever this opportunity is that shows up for you in February, this is going to be something big, because in March, it's like you're solidifying your finances, your money, and your resources. This is great to do this year, by the way, as well. For some of you, you could be investing in property or land, or maybe even both. For others, this could be that you are putting a really, it could be that you're beautifying a space, right? Like you're really turning it into, maybe you get a gallery, maybe you get an office, maybe you get a studio, maybe you get a home, maybe you get a bricks and mortar store. Whatever it is, you're turning something into something truly beautiful, but it's taking its sweet time. And my advice to you would be not to rush it. Okay. For as we come into April, Uranus is moving back into the sign of Gemini, back into your first house. Uranus is moving into, on the 26th, it's moving back into the sign of Gemini. So your ascendant, your sun, or your moon, whichever one you're watching for, or in your first house, especially if this is for your rising sign. This is a big deal because it's here for the next 6 years. You've already had a taste of this. Now you're going to get the full force of it, and you get to really build with whatever it's going to create for you and bring in spontaneous changes for everything, right? So it's all up for grabs and it's all up for change. Yeah, look at that, right? So you, for this month, you have the Lovers card. The Lovers card is literally the Gemini card. So love, relationship, partnership could absolutely be to the fore of your mind. You've got this with the Five of Wands. So not only are, not only are there chances here for you to collaborate, but there are chances here for you to interact with. If you're single, April brings a whole load of dating your way. Lots of opportunities to date, lots of options to choose from. If you're single and if you're partnered and looking to, if you're partnered, married, or in a long-term commitment, this is you and your significant other working on something that feels kind of like a hobby, but it seems to have more weight or more seriousness than that. It could be something that maybe you do as a hobby that is really bonding the two of you. It's bringing you closer together, and it's seeing you work on or through some kind of frustration, but it's bringing a lot more. It's kind of like, you know how like jiu-jitsu is really good for men because it helps you work out your frustration and get rid of that sort of antsy feeling that we can sometimes get. This could be kind of like that. So whatever it is that you and your partner are doing, it's something that's really good for the pair of you. Now, as we come into May, you have the High Priestess card, hidden things revealed, your intuition spikes, and more importantly, you start to realize what is going on behind the scenes. You've got this with the Six of Pentacles. I think that there are not secret financial deals, but I definitely think that you are making some kind of financial money move or power move in the month of May, which could absolutely see you sort of, you know, really tearing forward in some regard. What I would also say, because it's the Six of Pentacles, there may be some kind of help support, or maybe even uh like there could even be a benefactor, like somebody that's being a silent partner, somebody that's helping you, somebody that's funding something for you. It could even be that you discover secret sources, or maybe even get a secret source of money or funds or support in some regard from an unknown source, or maybe like a what do they call it, like a, you know, like a silent partner, or what do they call them, philanthropists. That's it, right? So if you've got a business or something along those lines, May could be a really, really good month. As we come into June, on the June 29th, we've got Mercury going back into the Mercury starts its second retrograde of the year in the sign of Cancer in your finance sector. That goes all the way until, I think it's like the 23rd of July. As if that wasn't enough, we also have your annual new moon on June the 15th. So be sure to set all of your intentions for the year that you desire. If you are a June born, if you're a May born Gemini, happy damn birthday to you. I hope you have a fantastic time of it. If you're a June born Gemini, happy damn birthday to you. I truly hope you have a wonderful solar return. And remember, wherever you're born in the year, make sure you fill the day with a little bit of everything that you want the year ahead to have in it. Now, on top of that, you also have, as if that wasn't enough, we've got Chiron moving into the sign of Taurus. So Chiron's coming into your 12th house. It's going to dip in there. It's going to give you a taster. This could be somewhat more intense, all right? And if you want to find out how to navigate that or what it's likely to bring up, you know what to do. So yeah, obviously the Mercury retrogrades are going to hit you that much more because you are Mercury. Mercury retrogrades this year are happening in water signs, as you can tell, right? First one's in Pisces, second one's in Cancer. This for you is in your second house of money, finances, and resources, as I mentioned. So keep that in mind. You've got the Devil card here. So June, do watch out for overindulgence, watch out for overspending. May, it's like there's an influx of money, you know, inheritance, loan, bursary, whatever it is. Be careful that you don't get frivolous with it in June. All right. Now, with this, you've got the Sun of Cups. For June, I want you to be really, really conscious of the offers that are made to you, or the opportunities that show up, especially if there's a financial element to them. It's not because I don't think that the person offering this thing is above board. I do, however, think that you might be locked in or tied to this thing for longer than you would like, and it may not necessarily deliver what it's promising to. So I would just be really, really conscious around these things. And the fact that you've got the Mercury retrograde in the second house as well, this is not a time for financial contracts. Whatever's offered to you at this time, if someone's telling you like, oh, you know, it's really going to be amazing, but it's time sensitive, if it's good now, it will still be good at the end of July. I'll wait, thank you. Okay, as we come into, speaking of July, on July the 18th, we've got the nodal shift. They're moving out of Pisces and Virgo, so out of that 4th house, 10th house for you. and then moving into the signs of Aquarius and uh, Leo. These are your third and ninth house axes, respectively, which means from this point onwards, changes of location, etc., could also be possible, as well as studying, learning, coaching, mentoring, guruing. That's not a word, is it? Or you becoming any one of those things, or maybe returning back to study. As if that wasn't enough, we've got Jupiter moving into the sign of Leo, where he's going to do very good work in your third house. This is going to expand your mind. It's going to, as if you don't need, I mean, you don't even need any more than that, right? Because on top of this, you've got Uranus now in your first house, you've got Jupiter now in your third house, and you've got these two interacting really wonderfully in a sextile, creating lots of opportunities in your local area. It's Jupiter, the Lord of opportunity, in the third house. So this is a once in 12-year transit. But, you know, the fact that Uranus is in your sign at the same time, Uranus is like a once in 84-year transit. So do the math on the likelihood that you're ever going to see one of these again. Okay, that being said, for this, you have the Chariot card. July is likely to be a fast and furious and dynamic month where there's lots of things unfolding. You've got this with the Six of Cups. This is trips down memory lane. But when I say trips down memory lane, I don't just mean like talking about that time you and your friends got up to mischief. I'm talking about literally going back to the place that you live, the place that you grew up, spending time there, traveling there. For some of you, this could be a trip to a journey, like a trip or a journey to a place of heritage, somewhere that you've lived in a past life, possibly. It could also be where like your heritage is from. So obviously, my mum is Greek and Egyptian. I still haven't managed to get to Egypt yet, but I would love to go there because, and I have this belief, and I said this to my friend who is Polish, and whenever he doesn't go home, you can really see it in him. And he's always said, like, I'll never go back home. I don't want to live there. But I always say to him, it's important that your body touches down on the soil that created it, right? So I live here in the UK, so I'm born from UK soil. But my heritage is all of those other things that my parents are. And, it's really funny because when I'm in Greece, there's something about me that feels a lot calmer. There's something, do you know what I mean? So wherever yours is, whether it's islands, whether it's somewhere else in the world, you could be traveling to a place like that. What I would also say is this is likely to see you overcoming something from your past or your childhood. And it could be as well for some of you that maybe the rose tinted glasses about your past come off and you see things in a very different light, but in a positive way. As we come into August, we have the second eclipse season of the year inside the month. So on the 12th of the month, we've got the new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Leo in that third house again, where Jupiter is now doing that good work. We've also got on the 28th of the month is the final full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces in that 10th house of career, and you're done. Your 4th house, 10th house axis is finished, right? The angular activations are done, and you're coming into that 3rd and 9th house. They're a little less intense, all right? So you'll be glad to know. For this, you have the Fool card. New things, new places, new people, new energies are opening up for you. It's an absolute reset. It kind of makes sense, right? You've got this with Nova, the universe. So in this deck, this card literally represents something that the universe itself is cooking up or bringing into your world. You add to that then that you've got the Fool card, which is literally a moment or a twist of fate. August is not just bringing you eclipses, it's bringing you a fated event or opportunity that literally will not be ignored, because this is like something that the universe itself has baked up to give you. So I'm excited to see what this is. You guys are going to have to let me know in the comments, because I really, me and my nosy self. Right, I'm like, ooh, okay, what's it going to be? Right, I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Put your full moon in there. So I want to tell you about the 2026 compass. You are going to love this. Imagine getting a 12-month tarot reading like this specifically for you. On top of that, I'm going to go into your astrology. You get a PDF booklet that that you can print off. I'm going to talk about your numerology. I'm going to talk about your astrology. I'm going to help you get into all of this stuff. And then you are going to have a 3-hour session with me where we are going to sit and plan your year out meticulously month by month so that you go into 2026 absolutely ready. So at the time that you're watching this, there are only 30 spaces because that's how many people I know I'm going to be able to serve in this way. What I will also say to you is, as part of the compass, you get the 2025 winter solstice alignment session seat absolutely free. That in itself is like £44 and 44 pence, and on top of that, you there's a payment plan. So you pay your first half on sign up, you pay your second half in November. By the time we get to December, you're already paid up. You have your 3-hour session. By the time we get to January, you go into 2026 absolutely ready. There's a link in the description box below. Be sure to check it out. It would be my pleasure to serve you in this way. And as I say, there's only 30. I won't be doing a second release of these at all, just because, as you can see how much work's gone into these, there's going to be that much work and so much more going into those 30 compass holders. So with that said, it would be my pleasure to see you there. For your September, you have the Tree of Life card, right? Love this for you. This is one of my favorite cards across all of my decks because it represents divine intervention and assistance. So not only is the universe baking something specifically for you, but September, it's bringing you something that is quite literally destined or ordained for you. This is going to be big. Oh, what? And you have the Fool card again. Out of all of the signs, it's only you and Taurus so far that got a double up. Taurus had a double Emperor, and you have a double Fool card. So August and September are going to be huge months for you. This could be a surprise pregnancy. It could be an opportunity of a lifetime. It could be a moment at which you meet somebody that you know you're destined to be with. It could be a moment where your partner comes to you and says, I've just won the lottery. It's going to be something huge. You wouldn't have double Fool cards back to back like this if it wasn't the universe. Like, whatever's being brought to you, it is something that is ordained or universally blessed in some regard. And I'm very, very excited for you. As we come into October, we have the third and final Mercury retrograde of the year. It's a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. It starts on the 24th of October and goes through till, I think it's like the 13th of November this year. This is obviously you. This is obviously in your 6th house of your physical health and vitality, your day-to-day experience, your practical elements as well, how you live life, how you go to work, where you commute to. All of that stuff is coming up here. If you've got pets as well, something in the life of or around a pet could be shaping up. So October, you've got the Hierophant card. In this deck, it's called Faith. This could be where you are potentially getting married. It could be where, I wouldn't be surprised with these two. It could also be where you're interacting with bigger or larger institutions. You've got this with the Six of Swords. This would be some kind of, maybe not necessarily spiritual travel, but it could definitely be where your relationship with a bigger or larger institution really gets very good or is enhanced in some way. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that a lot of you have a book deal or something along those lines at this time. I would also say that whatever is unfolding for you in October around your work, it will take you further afield. So something about your commute to and from work is changing. Something about where you work or how you work is shifting. That Mercury retrograde is backing this up. And as if all of this wasn't enough, it's also possible that for some of you, you could literally be going back to school. And it kind of makes sense, right? With everything that's come up here this year, if you are going back to school, October will likely be where you're starting. As we come into November, on November the 24th, I believe, we have your annual full moon. So this is your spotlight. If there's something that you want to launch, something that you want to really get seen, put it out because this is a great time. You've got the Sun card, light, heat, vitality, joy, happiness, more travel, right? This is absolutely, I mean, August through November, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are taking all kinds of trips, long distance, short distance, to in and fro in here and there, and all the rest of it. You've got the sun card with the star. If you are choosing this year to study astrology, November is the month that you will start. I have no doubts about this whatsoever because that's a very specific signature. What I would also say is the month of November specifically would be a fantastic time for you to have an astrology reading. Remember, I do astrology and Astro-Tarot sessions. So if you want to book one for November, I absolutely would love to serve you in that way. I will also say as well, there may be some kind of group connection and or support that really unfolds for you. You've got a double hit of the star now. So whatever this big opportunity is that shows up in February, November is likely to be a month where it really comes full circle or you put the capstone on it. Um, it will be fully baked by then, whatever it might be. There's definitely an international element to this as well. I forgot to mention as well, there is a Venus retrograde on October the 3rd, and that goes all the way through to November 14th. And I think so, it starts in Scorpio and reverses back into Libra. So it's going to start in your sixth house and it's going to come all the way back into your fifth house. For December, you have the Hanged Man. Take it easy. You've got this with the Four of Cups. After burning so bright and having such an amazing and stellar year, it's possible that you could feel a little bit kind of deflated at the end of the year. December might come and you might be like, oh, well, it's been this amazing sort of dynamic year that's, had so much. My advice to you would be actually just to take the rest because you don't know what 2027 is going to look like yet. All right. Obviously, I'll be here to talk about all of that at every step of the way. But for now, in the here and now of it, when we get to December of 2026, you really want to be peeling it back. You really want to be creating pockets of rest and recuperation and really examining why it is that you feel the need to be going at 100 miles an hour. This is going to be, I think, so far of all the signs, I think Gemini is probably set to have the best year. I mean, these cards are awesome. So your challenge months this year, I think February is going to be a power month, but I also think it's a challenge month because it's going to really feel very vulnerable because you will have to present yourself exactly as you are. Which could have its moments. I think June is a challenge month, absolutely. May has the potential to be because there's a lot going on behind the scenes and you're quite sort of overt. Your power months, I really like January. I actually like February a lot. I like March, although March could be slower than you would like it to be. I absolutely love August through November. I think it's just such a gauntlet run, like in such a big way. Now, your Human Design Oracle deck card message, interestingly enough, is exactly the same card that Taurus got and the Gate 28 and Possible. And the message behind this is what you thought was impossible this year, you are going to realize is actually probable when you move into a greater sense of alignment and peace. What I would also say to you is the opportunities that shape up for you this year, and that's what this year is. For you, Gemini, this is a year of possibility, a year of opportunity. I love this for you. I absolutely love this. I think what a stellar year, like, quite literally in some regards as well. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Don't forget to check out the compass. As I say, there's only 30 spaces. Don't miss out. If you want to get a personal reading with me, you can do so on the links in the description box below. It would be my honor to serve you. Have a fantastic year ahead. Check in every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, however it is that it speaks to you. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Take care, and I'll see you soon.